are empowered
members are empowered
to develop communication
to develop
communication
and leadership skills,
and
leadership skills,
resulting in greater self-confidence and personal
resulting
growth.
in greater
Greater
self-confidence.
self-confidence.
Thank you so much, all of you,
personal growth.
and personal growth. Thank you so much, all of you. First of all, my name's Mohammad Reza, and I'm your Sergeant at Arms for today. Uh, before we start the meeting, I would like to present to you some ground rules. Uh, uh, during the meeting, please keep your microphones off so that it will not disturb any of our speakers and the debate moderators, as well as the master of ceremony. So today, to conduct any meeting, we have to have a master of ceremony. Today, we have a very special person who's a highly active Toastmaster. I'm not a very active Toastmaster, but whichever meeting I attend, he's always there. He's either a timer or TMOD or speaker, or he's an evaluator. And a lot of times I've seen him take 2, 3, sometimes 4 roles as well. He has recently traveled to India, and we really miss him. Even though he's away, he's close to us. He's a member of 5 clubs, a highly passionate Toastmaster. He's a DTM who's none other than DTM Murli Manohar, and he will be taking care of the Master of Ceremony proceedings. I hand over it to DTM Murli Manohar.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters from worldwide. I'm going to be your MC for tonight. While Sergeant at Arms was talking about me, I remembered a small story. A girl was coming every day late to the school, and teacher asked her, "Why you are late?" She told, "Somebody is following me." "But why you are late? He is following you." "No, he is walking slowly," she said. In that same way, wherever he goes, he sees me. That means he is also very active. Toastmaster Mohammad Reza and all the Toastmasters, I'm very happy to be your MC for today. Incidentally, today's meeting number is 65, and the debate is number 6. I'm very happy to see many faces known and some are unknown. What is a contest? What is a debate? You will see it in the next 2 hours. To take this meeting further, I have a lot of people who I'll be introducing during this, my role as MC. But there is one person who is really very active. I would say more active than I. He is professionally a chartered accountant. Many of you may not know, he's a great footballer. In the morning at about 5 o'clock Kuwait time, I saw him near the beach, and he makes sure that sun rises in time, and he makes sure that LI Debaters is in its place. A man who worked hard to bring this club to this level as a coach in the previous year. Today, we are blessed to have him as our president. Please help me welcome virtually. Please unmute yourself and give a big applause and welcome our president, Toastmaster Anwar Adam. Now you can unmute yourself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Unmute.
MC meant mute.
Mute, sorry.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony, DTM Murli Manohar, for that warm introduction. That was the first time somebody introduced me without having taking an introduction about myself. That was great. Well, talking about the club, we started the term with a big bang, which is the debating championship. Today is our 6th debate championship meeting and also our last debate in this Elite Debaters Championship. I repeat, the last debate in Elite Debaters Championship, but not the last debate at the Elite Debaters, because after today, we are going to move on with a lot of other interesting segments and something as a president and as a team, we agreed and we look forward that is benefit our members to develop their debating and skills to take them forward. Without any further ado, I would like to hand over back to the MC so that he can proceed with the meeting, and stay tuned, enjoy the debate today, and by the end of today's meeting, we will announce what's coming up next. Enjoy today, and I look forward to have a very good learning from today's debate. Over to you, Master of Ceremony.
Thank you very much. I missed out one point for the people who do not know much about our president. He was the immediate past VP Education of one of the very famous clubs in Kuwait, Desert Pioneers, and made sure that this club stood 9th in the world in terms of educational awards. Please congratulate him for that also. The next person whom I'm going to introduce is a young, enterprising, and upcoming leader. For the first time in the District 20, district director and the district team has come out with a unique position for her as a district translator, a very well-known Toastmaster, and I know her since my division as a division director. Please help me welcome our district translator, Toastmaster.
Good evening. Okay.
Hind Ubay, over to you.
Thank you very much, DTM Morley, for this beautiful and warm introduction. Good evening, everyone, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I'm extremely happy to be here. And first of all, I would like to thank the president of Elite Debaters Toastmasters Club, Toastmaster Anwar Adam, for inviting me. He's been sending me invitations to attend so many times, but unfortunately for university and exams and finals, I couldn't attend, but finally I'm here. So he told me to say or to talk briefly on what to expect in a debate club like Elite Debaters. And it took me back to my first year in university, which was like 2 years ago, when I took a course called Principles of Rhetoric and Public Speaking. I experienced debate for the first time. And what is remarkable about this course, that the first day when our professor came in or got through the door, she wrote a quote on the board, and I still remember it till today. It's by Voltaire, and it says, "I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to death your right to say it." Of course, she deleted the part "to death" because we wouldn't get it at the time. So the thing is about this code that it really teaches us how, even in real life and even in debates, we have to respect the other opinion, and we have to fight for ourselves to prove our point of view. Not only that, we have to respect the other side to demonstrate their views. So what I expect here in Elite Debaters, a fun, teaching, and fruitful debates. Of course, not anything similar to the Trump-Biden debate. So best of luck to the both teams today, Elite Thinkers and Elite Spartans. May the best debate team wins. Back to you, MC.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Thank you very much. If you need to have a contest or a debate competition, we call it championship, you need to have a person to make sure that everything is in order in terms of judgment. I have amidst us a very young, promising person who is ready to help at any time, whether it is Durar Toastmaster Club or Desert Pioneers Club or any club wherever he is a member. He is there to support any club. And we are privileged to have our own person as the chief judge, Toastmaster Suhan Abdul. Suhan Abdul Munaf. He is our chief judge. Please, over to you, CG.
All right, thank you so much, Master of Ceremony, Toastmaster Murli Manohar. It's really nice to see you again after a long time. And fellow Toastmasters and my dear friends from all around the world, good evening. Nice to see you at today's Elite Debaters Championship. This is the first time I'm doing the role as a chief judge, and I'm really excited, just like how you are excited about. So are we really ready for today's meeting or today's championship contest? I can see everyone's excited. So before that, I would like to tell you that we have I have a good team of judges and also some role players who are going to support me during this competition. And also, I really expect that we'll have a good and a very smooth debate. And I hope there won't be any technical issues and no protests. And if anything arises, please, contestants, please feel free to report to me. And let's hope for the best. So I would like to know from the contestant, does anyone have any issue regarding the connectivity or keep the camera in the on mode?
At the moment, no.
At the moment, no. All right. So in that case, I will consider that we all are ready now. So are we ready? Audience, role players. All right. So let the show begin. So now I hand this back to our MC DTM Murli Manohar. Over to you.
Thank you very much, our chief judge. We wish you all the best in your first time as a CG. If you need to do a contest, you need to give your votes. And there are some people who are going to help us as the tally counters. We have a person all the way from Malaysia, DTM Sangeeta Adimulam, who is our ballot counter, as well as our own past Division E Director, DTM Ramkumar Nachpalli, as our ballot counter. They are the role players. Please give them a big applause. Secondly, if the meeting has to go in proper timing, we need timers. We have two young gentlemen, one from Mangaf, Toastmaster Mazharul Haq, and another from Block 10, Toastmaster Tasneem Akbar. They are going to be our timer. So speakers, please note their timing and pin them. Thank you. The next person is my great friend, who is the host, Toastmaster Anwar Adam from Farwania, and Toastmaster Buddho, right now from a mall he is promoting in Qatar. Please congratulate them and give them your support by muting your mic during the session. I'm going to be calling a very young, dynamic Toastmaster. Dynamic also is DTM, a determined Toastmaster, and professionally a distinguished Toastmaster, a professional and academic in AC, in the Om University, and a very well-known person in the Toastmaster fraternity in Kuwait. Please help me welcome our debate moderator, Our Royal Highness, DTM Ola Rashid.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters and your guests. Good evening. Today we will watch the last debate from the Elite Debaters Championship. And we have two teams. I don't know how they managed it in that way, but we have men versus women. And guess what? Women, they are the men, they will be the affirmative, and women, they will be the negative. So do you think women, they will work to make it that their opinion is always right? We will see. So we have two teams. We have elite thinkers and we have elite Spartans. Hopefully I pronounced the name correctly. And they will debate about something so interesting, which is globalization is good for any country. So let's see whether you are with or against. It's good to hear different opinions because I do believe there is nothing is always right or is always wrong, because we can have a balance between the two opinions. So it is a time to introduce for you the speakers. And when we introduce them, I will tell you how it will go on. So the affirmative team, elite thinkers, the captain, DTM Pramod Post, and we have Toastmaster Shyam Sundar, and we have DTM Alan Paul. I'm trying not to say it, but they are my teammates. I wish everyone the best. Okay, now it is the time to introduce for you the negative team, the ladies. So starting with our captain, the beautiful DTM Rohaina Aqil. Yes. Okay, and the second speaker is Toastmaster Archita Tiwari. And the third speaker, DTM Marie Jafar. So just to tell you how it will be, we will start with the captain, who will have 5 minutes to present their introduction, and then we will have a 2-minute cross-examination, and the rest of the speakers will have only 4 minutes to introduce their constructive speeches, and they will have a cross-examination. Please keep your eye on the timer, which is Toastmaster Mazhar al-Haq, because when it is red, you will be muted. So try to finish your speeches before the timer will mute you. So are you ready, everyone, to start? Are you ready, everyone? Okay, I can see everyone. Okay, please, there is Archita. She's not opening her camera. So if it's possible, okay, good. So we do have the team. So Chief Judge, are we ready to kick off with our debate? Chief Judge?
Yes, yes, we are ready.
Okay, so let's see who will win, men or the women. So let's start. We'll start with the affirmative team. So we will start with DTM Premog Boss. So Sergeant at Arms, would you just please make sure that DTM Premog Boss have a good connectivity, and it's for you, Chief Sergeant
Absolutely.
at Arms.
Thank you so much, moderator.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Toastmaster Premuk. Are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you.
We are able to see you clearly, as well as hear you clearly. And over to you, moderator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mohammed. DTM Pramod, did you pin the timer?
Yeah.
Okay, so the platform is yours. Best of luck.
Good evening, viewers from Kuwait, North America, Qatar, Uganda, Malaysia, India, and welcome to this meeting that helped us connect by an app made by an American company headed by a CEO from China, viewing on a device that is probably made in Taiwan. It goes without a doubt that globalization helped us connect, and it is hard to imagine a world without globalization. Today, our resolution is globalization is good for any country. As per the definition of World Health Organization, globalization is the increased interconnectedness and interdependence of peoples and countries is generally understood to include two interrelated elements: the opening of international borders to increasingly fast flows of goods, services, finance, people, and ideas, and the changes in institutions and policies at national and international levels that facilitate or promote such flows. As per Cambridge Dictionary, good means having a positive or useful effect. Again, as per Cambridge Dictionary, any is some or even the smallest amount or number of. According to the Oxford Dictionary, country is a nation with its own government occupying a particular territory. We, affirmative team, strongly believe in the resolution that globalization is good for any country. It's not enough that we merely support this motion. We all must enjoy the benefits of globalization. I will speak about why globalization is a necessity. My teammates, Toastmaster Sham, will throw light on globalization's advantages, and Toastmaster Alan will guide you through the practical aspects of globalization. First of all, globalization is not a project. It's an in-depth historical process. It began 100,000 of years ago as our ancestors began wandering across continents. Globalization has expanded to infrastructure, transportation, energy, and communications that we have built to connect the continents, cities, and people worldwide. Globalization has withstood every plague, every world war, and every financial crisis. Today, we as a global society benefit from globalization, not only in economic means, but also in social and cultural circumstances. Without globalization, it would be challenging for refugees to flee war-torn countries like Syria and Yemen. Furthermore, we wouldn't see as much cultural diversification as we do today. A large reason people from all around the world can gather in large cities in developed and developing nations is due to globalization. I could go on about this forever. Sharing technology by developed countries with developing nations will help them progress. For example, moon landing and space collaborations. Globalization allows countries to pool resources together for the common benefits. One of the best examples of globalization within our lifetime is constructing the International Space Station, a modular space station in low Earth orbit. According to NASA, the cost to construct the ISS was $150 billion. When the first component for ISS was launched in 1998, 5 different programs came together to join in ownership, cost, and operations. The United States, Russia, Canada, European Union, and Japan are all involved in the program's financing and continued operations. We all could watch the news of Russia's coronavirus vaccine claims sitting at our homes. When the North Korean leader meets the South Korean leader, the news hit everywhere around the world. If there was a way to travel back in time and stop globalization before globalization even started, how would the world look today? Without globalization, the world would be a closed system. We would not know what was going in other countries. This also means no sharing of inventions and discoveries. Our meeting today wouldn't have happened. In short, I cannot imagine any country progressing without globalization. Over to the moderator.
Thank you so much, Premok, for this speech. So now we need to call for Ruhaina Aqil. So Ruhaina Aqil, I will hand you for the Sergeant at Arms. So Sergeant at Arms, kindly check her connectivity.
Hello, Toastmaster Rohena.
Yes.
Are you
Can
able
you
to hear me?
I am able to
Yes.
hear you. Am I heard?
Yes, absolutely clear. Have you pinged the timer?
Yes.
Excellent. Over to you, moderator.
Thank you
DT
so
Mola.
much. So Ruhaina, did you pin the timer?
Yes, I have.
Sure.
Okay.
Sorry, DT Mullah, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Toastmaster Anwar, can the judges have 1 minute time right now or after the cross-examination?
Oh, yeah, there's 30 minutes.
30
30
seconds.
seconds, I mean.
All right, Toastmaster Anwar.
Yes, please break for 30 seconds after every speaker so the
Yeah,
judges can
I'm
mark.
sorry for that. So please, timer, can we have a 30 seconds for the judges?
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, the time is up. So it is the time to have the cross-examination. So the Sergeant at Arms, can you check with Premark if all is good with him?
Hello, Toastmaster Premuk.
Yes.
Are you able to hear me? We are able to hear you.
Yeah.
Over to you, DT Mola.
Thank you so much, Chief Sergeant at Arms. So the cross-examination is on.
Thank you so much, DTM Ola. Good evening, my worthy opponent, DTM Premok. I would like to ask you something about space research that you mentioned. Space research is individually done mostly by countries, and each country is trying to compete with another country and trying to have lower costs in space research. So what's the point of, having good, it's not a good reason for having globalization. Do you agree?
Gone are the days where each country was competing with each other.
They're still doing it.
And try to outsmart others. But nowadays,
it's still happening.
I had given you a perfect example of international space.
Nowadays, because of technology.
I had given you a perfect example.
No, I asked you yes or no, because nowadays, because of technology,
5 countries came.
But technology has made it more easy for each country to do it on its own, and each of them is in a cutthroat competition. Everyone wants to be the king out there.
No, it's not.
And that's a negative impact. That's a negative impact for globalization.
There are friendly competition, but yet there are areas for cooperation, mutual understanding, helping each other for the common.
That is not happening. That is one thing we're not. That is one thing we're not happening. That is one thing which is not being seen. There's more of war on that.
Just talking without some evidence or anything. I had given a concrete evidence about the international space station where 5 different countries.
I will ask you another question.
Came together. US dollar 150.
I'll ask you another question.
For the benefit.
Let me ask another question. Another question is about, you said 1,000 years ago.
To deliver goods for the humanity as a whole.
Yeah, because I heard that.
I think I had given a perfect answer to that.
Okay. What about, you said only 1,000 years back globalization started, but I think globalization started much before that, when people used to travel from country to country on camel. It was not globalized.
You're just misquoting. I told 100,000 years.
Ruhaina, cross-examination is done. Timer, kindly next time you try to mute them. Okay, so timer, can we have a 30 seconds for the judges? Okay, thank you so much, Timer. Before we move on, just Timer, please, when the time is right, mute the speakers directly if they are still speaking. Chief Associate
Excuse
Arm.
me, moderator. Moderator, I don't have rights to mute them because I think host, he only can do it.
Okay, please, whoever is the host, make the timer the co-host so we'll be able to mute the speakers. Okay, thank you so much, Chief Sergeant Arm. Before we let Rohaina to start her constructive speech, would you please check her connectivity?
Hello, Toastmaster Rohaina. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes.
Have you pinned the timer?
Yes.
Excellent. Moderator, Itiamola, Toastmaster Rohaina is audible, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Chief Sergeant at Arms. So, Rohaina, the platform is yours.
Thank you so much, moderator. Good evening to all my well-wishers and all the audience from all over the world, and a very good evening, especially to my worthy opponents. Today, me and my team members actually do not agree with the resolution that globalization is good for any country. We say globalization is not good for any country. My team will be covering the following contentions. Firstly, myself, I will be discussing about its negative effect on people. Our second contention is by a second team member who will talk about how countries are affected because of globalization. And thirdly, we have our third team member who will talk about globalization, how it has affected companies and MNCs negatively. You and I are people, and we have definitely been under this cruel hammering of globalization. Globalization forces people to do whatever the developed countries want them to do. Many developed countries, including Canada, they lose out as they are involved in outsourcing their manufacturing jobs that used to be done by their own citizens, not giving them jobs. This is why, due to outsourcing, you may find many of your clothes with labels from developing countries like Malaysia, China, and the Philippines, where they can be produced at a lower cost. My first argument is a disparity between rich and the poor. You see, the rich just keep getting richer, but the poor keep getting poorer. There's absolutely no middle line where it could be a survival line for both of them. Globalization impacts the standard of living of different types of workers to different degrees, not only in all countries, but within countries. Second argument that I have is the low wages for these people. Due to the trade deficit, where you see more import rather than export, it affects the consumer prices and the wages for people. I mean, common man. Have you heard of the China syndrome? Local labor market in China has drastic effects of import competition in the US. In most parts, they find that there is increased unemployment, lowered labor force participation, and reduced wages. Countries using the markets in China found that claims for unemployment and healthcare benefits in their country has also increased. Workers in developed countries may lose their jobs, while those doing the work in poorer countries get paid very less while working in poor conditions, showing that this is actually a negative effect of globalization. It is important also to mention that today's rich countries, they were already rich even years ago thanks to the Industrial Revolution. In turn, poor countries, which were poor from the beginning, are still poor. And they did not gain much from globalization. The International Monetary Fund's neoliberal policies have led to greater indebtedness and even greater inequality. And they believe that this neoliberal global economy would only be effective and beneficial if everyone was equal. First, the Green Revolution came, which occurred between 1950 and the late 1960s. it invoked a boom in agricultural production and pushed a demand for more products in developing countries. This meant something which was different for poor Africans than that for rich corporations. It indeed increased their production, but at the same time, it rejected small farmers who could not afford these high-tech inputs. This was a report given by George in 2013. To best show the negative effects of the Green Revolution, it is worth mentioning how it affected Pakistan too. According to a report by Niazi in 2004, the Green Revolution did not end the existing hunger, poverty, and unemployment, but increased this and contributed to social inequality through unequal access to production resources. My third argument is regarding the cut in pay scale. Why is this inequality increasing? Globalization can increase wage inequality in a relatively rich country by increasing the imports of manufactured goods using predominantly low-skilled labor from developing countries. As I have mentioned, people are negatively affected as more and more people still face inequality, low salaries,
Rahaina, that's enough. I'm sorry, timer. I had to mute Rahaina on your behalf. So please,
Moderator, the timer has been given the right. So going forward, the timer should be off. Switching it off.
Okay. So timer, can we have a 30 seconds for the judges, please?
Timer, can you please confirm that you have the access to mute?
Sure. I'll just check it now. I'll check it.
Please confirm before we proceed further.
Okay, I have.
Also note at the when the red signal is done, your participants would still have about 10 seconds to go. So just in case you see red, please don't panic. Allow the timer for 10 seconds to mute. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. President, and thank you so much, timer. So it is the time for the cross-examination. So it is the time for the second speaker from the affirmative team, Shiam. Would you please unmute yourself? Okay, great. So please, Chief Sergeant at Arms, would you check the connectivity of the second speaker?
Thank you so much, moderator. Toastmaster Shiam, how are you doing?
Good evening, Toastmaster Riza. I'm doing good, thank you.
Are you able to hear me clearly?
Oh, yes.
Excellent. Over to you, DTM Ola.
Thank you so much, Chief Sergeant at Arms. So it is, did you pin the timer, Shiam?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so you do have 2 minutes. Best of luck.
At the process, right? Okay. Good evening, Toastmaster Rahaina.
Good evening.
First question to you. When do you think globalization started?
That was not a part. I mean, because that started long back, definitely. I have heard of it in bits and pieces.
Yeah, you talked about poor versus rich. Before globalization started, do you think poor and rich were equal, or there was no disparity?
I think there was a middle class.
Okay.
No, there was no disparity. There was not disparity. There was no disparity. I never said that. Okay. I said there was always a middle class, where there was equality. Yes.
You talked about poor versus rich and losing jobs, but you did not produce any evidence, right?
Like I mentioned, no, I did not give you in detail.
You did not provide any statistics, basically.
Okay. But I did. Yes,
and
people are outsourcing.
People are talked about losing jobs.
No, when people are outsourcing to these developing countries, and these people are definitely at a loss, and where they are.
Apart from globalization, losing jobs, was it not the inefficiency of the government? or it is only
I
globalization?
did not get your question. I did not. This was not part of my speech. I'm not sure. That's not a very valid question.
Okay. What about the effect of crude oil, price of crude oil that has been reduced in the recent times? So was it not the reason for the effects that you mentioned, or is it only globalization?
That could add, actually, that could add. Yes, that
Yes,
you're adding more to the
so much.
globalization. So crude oil also is a bad thing. It could
So
be bad for
you're
all the
attributing
people in
everything to globalization,
Definitely.
right? You're attributing everything to globalization.
Yes, at the moment, yes. At the moment, yes. I'm talking only about globalization. You added the crude oil.
Okay, thank you so much. So just to tell the timer, but the speakers should be muted. Okay, so Chief Surgeon at Arms, before that, please, timer, can we have a 30 seconds for the judges before we start? Okay, timer, thank you so much. So please, Chief Surgeon at Arms, check with the second speaker from the affirmative team if his connectivity is good before he starts his speech.
Thank you so much, moderator. Toastmaster Archita, are you able to hear me?
Toastmaster Archita, I have to make
Yeah, it is Toastmaster Shyam.
Shyam, sorry.
Yeah.
Toastmaster Shyam, are you able to hear me clearly? Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We are able to hear him. Over to you, moderator.
Thank you so much, Chief Surgeon at Arms. So, Shyam, did you pin the timer?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Okay, best of luck for you.
Thank you. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests, and special good evening to my worthy opponent team. During the constructive speech of opponent team captain, they did not give any evidence for their argument. They're simply attributing all the negative effects of the society to the globalization. Despite more than 200 countries independently working for their best interests, we all come together in ways to make the world a better place. The world is becoming more globalized. There is no doubt about that. Globalization brings forth immense advantages in trade, economy, technology, social, and cultural areas. Globalization increases trade and economy. Products and services previously available within one country are made available to new markets outside the country due to globalization. GDP of globalizers increased many folds, as we witness in countries like China, India, Myanmar, and Vietnam. We have a study done over 3 decades, which clearly shows this stated fact. Let me share my screen, please. I would like to give the evidence for my argument. This particular study, Globalization, Inequality and Poverty since 1980. This was done by David Dollar. He's from World Bank Development Research Group. And there is one more study, 3 decades of globalization, which countries won, which lost. As per this particular study, if you look at GDP of number of countries, including China, Myanmar, Vietnam, Bhutan, Laos, India, from 1990, if you compare from 1990 to 2015, there is tremendous increase in GDP. This is clearly because of globalization. If you look at the performance of non-globalizers and globalizers, in 1960, rich countries were far ahead, but over a period of 30 years, after the second wave of globalization, the globalizers, which is shown here in red color, they headed like anything. Globalizers are in the winning path, whereas non-globalizers, the countries which do not follow globalization, they're falling behind. And here again, if you look at the global integration measures, the GDP again from 1822 to 1995, there is tremendous increase. This is a very clear evidence. If you look at per capita GDP growth rates, post 1980 globalizes. In 1960, it was 1.4%. In 1990, it increased to 5%. This is about globalizers. This is an increase in trade and GDP again. If you look at non-globalizers, they are very at lower end. Look at globalizers, they are moving ahead. This is again from the very prospective study. And look at the world growth rate has acceleration from 1820 to 1870 to 2000. There is tremendous increase in the world growth rate. This is clearly because of globalization, as per the study done by Madison, Summers, and Hanston. So, now let me move to another advantage. Globalization benefits consumers with fewer barriers to the import and export market. The cost of produce.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, the second speaker from the affirmative team. So timer, please, can we have 30 seconds for the judges? Thank you so much. So it is the time for the cross-examination. So Chief Sergeant at Arms, kindly check for the second speaker from the negative team, Archita.
Thank you so much, moderator. Toastmaster Archita, how are you?
I'm good, sir. I hope you're having a great day.
Thank you so much. Are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes. Am I audible and visible?
Absolutely. Moderator, over to you.
Thank you so much, Chief Sergeant at Arms. So, Archita, did you pin the timer?
I did. Thank you.
Okay. So, second speaker from the affirmative team, Sham, please open your mic. So, the cross-examination will begin.
Hello, sir. Toastmaster Sham. I really want to ask you one particular question. When it was time to cross-examine my teammate, you said that, are you trying to say that the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer only because of globalization? I have one simple question for you. Are you trying to tell me that the GDP of a country is increasing only because of globalization? Let me take your example of China. The GDP of China has gone up from the 1990s to 2015, not just because of globalization, but because of technological advancement, investment in education, population and birth control by various socio-economic policies of within the country that are actually helping it grow its GDP. And similar is the case of Myanmar. Are you trying to tell me globalization is the only reason why they are increasing their GDP, where in contrast you said that globalization cannot be
Thank
the
you
only
for your
reason?
speech. You're supposed to put a question to me.
Yeah, are you trying to say that? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I said globalization is has major role in improving GDP of the nations who are globalizers. The non-globalizers,
okay,
they're failing. That's what my point.
Sir, the GDP growth of the countries that you mentioned, like I told you, you're unfortunately misinformed. It says technological advancement and the reasons I mentioned. Avoid that. Let me get to second question. Towards the end of your talk, you mentioned about how consumers are benefited across the globe and how they are getting access to everything. I think that's what probably you want to say. My question is, you're so worried about consumers, and as a consumer, I'm happy. What about local sellers? They are facing issues because of globalization. What do we have to say about that?
Everybody is part of globalization. Globalizing country, everybody is part of globalization. Everybody is getting benefited. We have clear evidence on that.
You have clear evidence that local sellers
Yes.
are getting benefited.
Everybody is getting benefited. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So okay, timer, just a small reminder, during cross-examination, you need to mute both the speakers. Thank you so much. Please, can we have a 30 seconds for the judges? Thank you so much, timer. Chief Sergeant at Arms, kindly check the connectivity with the second speaker from the negative team.
Toastmaster Archita, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, absolutely. Have you pinned the timer?
Yes, sir. Done that.
Absolutely. Over to you, moderator.
Thank you so much, Chief Sergeant at Arms. Second speaker, Archita, best of luck.
Allow me to start by saying something, not just by my teammate Toastmaster Rohena, but by Nelson Mandela, who happens to share the thought of my teammate. Very, very coincidental, right? He says, globalization means, as it so often does, that rich and powerful now have means to become further enriched and empowered themselves at the cost of poorer and weaker sections of the society. We have the responsibility to protest in the name of universal freedom. I am sure that Nelson Mandela must be mistaken, just like my teammate, because the opposition refuses to believe that a leader like Nelson Mandela can actually stand against globalization. Allow me to give you a little bit of data and statistics, which from the Forbes, which says that 161 countries have value-added tax. Taxation is one of the most important economic factors of any country, and 161 countries in the globe today have value-added tax, which can go as high as 21.6%. That is including countries in Europe. But there are certain developed countries that have no VAT or value-added tax at all, which includes countries like United States of America. The developed and the underdeveloping countries both are facing the negative and the harmful effects of globalization. Let me tell you how. The employees of the developed countries are very often threatened and told that how their employment can easily go away because there is mass amount of workforce available in a developing country at a much lower cost, and therefore their jobs can easily be snatched away from them. The developing countries, their local sellers, their local markets, their local products are not getting the importance that they deserve, are not getting the revenue that they deserve, because there is globalization, because there are global multi-million-dollar companies that have the capital, that have the resources to capture any market, and allow me to use the word monopolize any market that they go at. With that, also let me tell you how.
Please go on, Toastmaster.
Archita, please go on.
Oh, somebody interrupted me, I thought. I'm so sorry. Okay. Allow me to also tell you a little bit about what our previous speakers have spoken about. Some said that we started with globalization 100,000 years ago, and that we are connected because of globalization. Are you really talking about globalization or digitalization? Because I am sitting in India and I am connected with you because of digitalization more than because of globalization. I'm not saying globalization has nothing to do with it, but it is more because of digitalization. Also, nomadic lifestyle is what probably, according to the opposition team, is what globalization was about. Nomadic lifestyle was not about globalization. Nomadic lifestyle was about how people could not go ahead with their lives in a proper manner, and how after setting up at a particular place, they developed culture, they developed heritage, and how the culture of a place is getting negatively affected because of globalization, how people are leaving their local languages, local food habits, local dressing style, and going forward to international developed countries dressing styles only because that is the need of the hour, that is the demand. So all that I have to say is globalization is a tsunami in today's world, and there cannot be a stop to it, but let's limit it so that the negative effects are bearable. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Archita. Timer, please, can we have a 30 seconds for the judges? Thank you so much, Timer. So, Chief Sergeant Arms, kindly check the connectivity of the third speaker from the affirmative team, Alan.
Thank you so much. Toastmaster Alan, how are you today?
Doing great.
Are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Yes, and you're audible too. And over to you, moderator.
Thank you so much, Chief Sergeant at Arms. Archita, okay, great. So cross-examination, best of luck for both of you.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, my dear worthy opponent. My first question to you is, do people have an option to select their jobs? Yes or no?
Yes, they do.
Okay, thank you. And second question is, do companies have the option to regulate the wages? Yes or no?
Not by harassment. Regulation of wages by
But yes or no?
that are fair. Yes or
I
no?
just asked a yes or no, please.
Sir, an answer
Yes, you
to a
can.
yes or
You can.
no.
It's just a simple question.
No, it's not a simple
Okay,
question.
moving
It's a
on to the next
complicated
question. I think I got my
Let's
answer.
go forward.
Now, during the start of the Industrial Revolution, was China and India an underdeveloped country? Do you know that?
They were developing countries.
Was it? They were developing countries. Okay. And what about Malaysia? Wasn't it an underdeveloped country?
I will have to check.
You're not aware about it.
I'm sure about it, so I will
Okay,
not
thank
comment.
you. Thank you. I got my answer. Thank you. Are you aware about high-yielding seeds that require less water? Yes, you are aware. Okay, thank you. Do you agree that Walmart operations were recently rejected in India?
Yes, I've heard of it.
Okay, that's great. Now, now you mentioned about Nelson Mandela. Now, do you believe that culture evolves according to time? Yes or no?
Culture has many factors contributing to its evolution.
It is just yes or no question, my dear worthy opponent. Just yes or no. Do you believe yes or no?
Toastmaster Alan, you cannot ask me a yes or no answer.
Please answer the question. Otherwise, I can move on to the next question. I think I got my answer. Thank you. Let's move on.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you believe what is beneficial for a country? Yes or no?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. Can you repeat?
Do you believe what VAT, value-added taxes, is beneficial for a country? Yes or no?
That will
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for both
I
of
got
you.
my answers.
Thank you. Thank you so much to Alan and Archita. Timer, please, can we have 30 seconds for the judges? Thank you so much, Timer. Chief Sergeant Arms, kindly check the connectivity again for the third speaker from the affirmative team.
Hello, Toastmaster Alan. How are you? Are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you.
Absolutely. Over to you, Toastmaster DTM Ola.
Thank you so much, Chief Sergeant Arms. Alan, did you pin the timer?
Yes, I did.
Okay, the platform is yours. Best of luck.
Thank you, respected moderator and my dear friends. Our opponents mentioned about forcing people to do jobs. Now, this is the first argument that they had given. Now, you always have the option to select whatever job you want. And also, please note that having a job is better than no job at all. So this argument is invalid. Second, lower wages. Again, the individuals have the option to select their jobs, and the countries can always have a minimum wage regulation set for the companies to follow this. Third, our opponents also spoke about the industrial revolution. Now, this is not valid. As you can see, many emerging countries like China, India, and they're emerging as global leaders. So there is a drastic difference, a drastic change in the demographics ever since the industrial revolution has begun. So globalization has had a huge impact in it. And fourth, about digitalization, let me please remind you that globalization is connecting between different companies, different countries. So technology is also a part of it. Digitalization is thanks to globalization. And fourth, about the fifth one, now green revolution. You spoke about the green revolution. There are countries that are benefiting from high-end yielding seeds. Farmers who are under poverty, when they get these imported seeds, which only require less water, it improves their harvest, it improves their field. So there is a lot of backlash I see that against globalization. But the thing is, you cannot stop globalization. It will just make it bad. This backlash is not really against globalization. The solution, ladies and gentlemen, is to regulate capitalism, to clean up the supply chains, not to end globalization. If you want affordable education for the masses, then you want more ships, more books to be shipped across the borders, or mobile learning platforms translated into local languages. If you want farmers to survive the next volatile harvest, then you want them to get the latest high-yield seeds that require less water. If you want to solve the economic crisis of the aging population and the high debt, then you want migration of workers and to care for the elderlies. The solution to all the negative consequences that my opponents talked about is more globalization. You want to allow the supply for money, people, technology, and ideas to reach the demand for money, people, technology, and ideas. Take the example of a visionary who invented a product. Now, this product, he could revolutionize the world with it. He starts manufacturing it locally, and it's an instant hit. Everybody loves it. But he doesn't stop there. He wants the world to know about this product. So thanks to globalization, he was able to start distributing it globally. There came a point where people wanted to buy it, but it was expensive. So they outsource the manufacturing to another country who has experts for a very reasonable fee. And as there is scarcity of some raw materials within his country, he was able to import it from another country, again for a reasonable fee, thus making the product much more affordable for the general public. With these profits, he was again able to use it for research and marketing that provides more opportunities for other industries to promote their product. This visionary that I'm talking about is Bill Gates, and his company is Microsoft. And as per a research by International Data Corporation, Microsoft and its ecosystems provide 14.7 million jobs across 82 countries. And you have many countries like this. You have many entrepreneurs who have started from scratch, and we continue to use their products to make our life easier. You have global. My time is up.
Thank you so much, Alan. Timer, please, can we have 30 seconds for the judges? Thank you. Timer, Chief Sergeant at Arms, kindly check the connectivity of the third speaker from the negative team.
Hello, Toastmaster Arij, how are you today? We are not able to hear you. Have you unmuted yourself?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely clear now.
Okay, I'm doing fine. How are you? Hello?
I'm doing good, thank you. Have you pinned the time? Are you able to hear me?
Yes,
Toastmaster
I will pin the
Arij?
timer now.
Yes, yes.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes. Loud and clear.
Over to you, DTM Ola.
Thank you so much, Chief Sergeant at Arms. So this is the cross-examination. Best of luck for both of you.
Hi, dear Ellen. How are you?
Doing great,
Looking good
Arij.
today.
Thank you.
Better than this morning. So, Toastmaster Ellen, I want to ask you a question, and please, your answer should be yes or no. Okay? So, I would like to ask you, don't you think that poor people are forced to do the job?
No.
People in the street who's selling things, don't you think that they are forced to do these jobs? Because of their way of their poorness they are living in?
No.
Thank you so much. And for something else I want to ask you, you have mentioned in your speech that, once again, that people with huge family, to feed the local seller, they need to agree on the job they are having, or they are fine with the job they are doing, right?
This is in my speech. I didn't say this in my speech.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm fine.
All right. You have more questions?
Thank you
Shall
so
I go on?
much.
No, you can go.
Thank you so much, Alan and Arij. So, timer, please, can you have a 30 seconds for the judges? Thank you so much, timer. Chief Sergeant at Arms, kindly just check the connectivity of the third speaker before she starts.
Toastmaster Arij, are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Have you pinned the timer?
Yes, I did.
Absolutely.
Thank
Over
you
to
so
you, moderator.
Thank you so much, Chief Sergeant of at Arms. So it is a time to hear the third speaker. Best of luck.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. As you all can see, that my worthy opponent agreed that people should be forced. He didn't say it yet. With his speech, it was totally obvious that they agreed that people are forced to do the job from the companies. So today I will explain about the social injustice and unfairness at workplace, and I will be showing to you how globalization affects the environment badly. So ladies and gentlemen, do you like to feel like a slave at your workplace? Or would you be satisfied if your employer was unfair with you? Through globalization, people from different countries are provided with jobs opportunities within the global framework. It has created the concept of outsourcing. Developed countries prefer the outsourced jobs to developing countries where labor or skilled costs are cheaper than their own country. Work such as customer support, Software development, marketing, and insurance are outsourced to developing countries. Life is much harder, especially for those who is working outside, people selling things in the street or carrying bricks on building sites earn less than we do. In 2001, Naila Kapir of the University Sussex in England and Simin Mahmood of the Bangladesh Institute of Development Studies did a survey of 1,322 workers in Dhaka. They discovered that the average monthly income of workers in garment export factories was 86% above that of other wage workers living in the same slum neighborhoods. This is social injustice in an already socially unjust situation. As well as lack of concern of environment, the adverse effect of globalization on the environment is supported by what's known as the race to the bottom hypothesis. And we strongly believe that increased gains from globalization are achieved at the expense of the environment because more open economies adopt looser environment standards. It creates a global competition, resulting in a boost in global economic activities that deplete the environment and its natural resources. And a good example of this is Iran, which has slapped with economic sanctions, making the country less integrated in the world economy. For example, Iran started refining its own crude oil that contains 10 times the level of pollutants of the oil it used to import. The increased economic activities lead to greater emissions of industrial pollutants and more environmental degradation. The pressure on international firms to remain competitive forces them to adopt cost-saving production techniques that can be environmentally harmful. Since I have clearly highlighted the issues like social injustice, environmental issues, we strongly disagree with the resolution, and we believe that globalization is not good for any country. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Arij. Timer, kindly, let's have 30 seconds for the judges. Thank you so much, Timer. Kindly, Chief Sergeant at Arms, check the connectivity with the affirmative captain, Premog, before he starts the cross-examination.
Thank you so much, moderator. Toastmaster Premog, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you pinned the timer?
Yes.
Absolutely. Excellent. Over to you, DTM Ola.
Thank you so much, Chief Sergeant at Arms. So, best of luck for both of you.
Toastmaster Arij, do you believe that universal freedom and economic inequality are interrelated? Yes or no?
This was not part of my speech. Please ask me something related to what I have said.
It is related to your speech because you talk about economic equality, social injustice. But my question is related to that. Another question. Have you heard about Paris Agreement in 2015?
No, I didn't.
Yes. The Paris Agreement 2015 is talked about the 155 countries came together, worked towards green energy and pure energy so that the carbon emission could be reduced by 2050. And
Thank you
so
for
that
telling me that.
the world will have a clean living. So these are the two questions. Another question you spoke about the third world countries, developing countries getting jobs of the developed countries. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Outsourcing. You spoke about outsourcing.
It depends. It depends.
Yeah. So what I want to say that it's a good thing for the developing countries. Their economy will improve. It's a good aspect of globalization. I would say that. And another question: if the developed countries want to stop this outsourcing of outsourcing from other countries, could they have some laws implemented or not?
Not necessarily. In this case, they can have their own people to do the job instead of the people from outside the countries.
Yeah, so I would say that each country can put some laws so that other countries people cannot come inside and get their jobs. So my questions are over. My questions are over. Happy. I'm happy.
Thank you so much for this cross-examination. So before we move on, timer, please, can we have 30 seconds for the judges? Thank you so much, timer. Before we move on, do you want to go to breakout rooms? Teams? The captain from each team. So Primog and Ruhaina, do you want to go for a breakout room before delivering your final speeches?
No, I can do it without that.
Okay, Ruhaina. Ruhaina.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
The teams have requested for a breakout room.
I can't hear you, Anwar.
The teams had confirmed for the breakout rooms earlier, so it was already opened.
Okay.
The breakout rooms are open.
I didn't know that. Okay.
The time is 2 minutes, moderator.
But Primog is still here.
Just timer, please wait until. Yes, you can start the timing now. Thank you.
2 minutes. 2 minutes, right?
Thank you, President. 2 minutes.
Time
yes.
is 2 minutes, right? Toastmaster Anwar?
Yes. Yeah. 2 minutes.
Okay, then. Thank you.
The time is up, so can we have the teams in here? Welcome back, welcome back.
Okay, all the teams are back, right, Ola?
Perfect, perfect. Yes, please mute yourselves, please. Okay, so it is the time to listen to the summary from each captain. So we will start with the captain of the affirmative team, Premog. Chief Sergeant at Arms, would you please check his connectivity before he starts?
Yes. Thank you so much, moderator. Toastmaster Premog, are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes.
Have you pinned the timer?
Yes.
Absolutely. Over to you, moderator.
Thank you so much, Chief Sergeant at Arms. The platform is yours, Premog.
My worthy opponents tried hard to convince that globalization is not good, but they reflected their confusion and blamed globalization as the cause of all evils in the world, and they failed miserably and couldn't substantiate any points with proper evidence. We, affirmative team, have stated enough points and facts with evidence and statistics to establish that globalization is good for any country. Let me reiterate some of the advantages of globalization. Globalization allows us to pool all our resources together. Globalization improves communication access. It helps the developing world progress faster, especially in terms of GDP. World growth rates have improved over the years due to globalization. Globalization benefits consumers. It increases trade. It has helped cultural intermingling. Globalization has been the most significant force for reducing the poverty of billions of people from Asia and Africa. Fundamentally, why should the opposition team, why should it blame globalization for the impact of mismanagement of the governmental policies? That is my question. Now, name the country, the committee, the people who made those terrible decisions to give the tax breaks, not to regulate the capital. Let's blame the real culprits, not globalization. Globalization has helped to increase the living standards of the people, especially in the third world countries like India and China. And let me say that globalization has been the most significant force for reducing the poverty of billions of people from Asia and Africa. Too little internet access is a much bigger problem than digital divide. It's fashionable to talk about global redistribution today. If you want global redistribution, then you should want such connectivity of economy and infrastructure. The backlashes are not against globalization, but rather against the governments that fail to manage it for their society's benefits. Inequality is a political choice. So don't blame globalization if your government failed to invest in workers' training, education, or STEM technology. Blame your leaders, blame yourselves. Widow crisis, which are the results of poorly managed globalization. The environment is becoming unsustainable. Human beings are being exploited, but the solution is to regulate capitalism, to clean up our supply chain, not to blame globalization for that. There is no bad globalization, only badly managed globalization. We believe culture evolves according to time. Remember, globalization has not failed. If you don't get the balance right, that is not globalization's failure.
Thank you
It is
so
our
much,
failure.
Premog. Thank you so much, Premog. And timer, kindly, can we have 30 seconds for the judges? Thank you so much, Timer. Chief Sergeant at Arms, kindly would you check the connectivity with the captain of the negative team, Ruhaina Aqid?
Thank you so much, moderator. Hello, Toastmaster Ruhaina.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Are you able to hear me clearly? I think I'm hearing, I'm not able to hear you clearly.
Can you hear me now? Am I audible?
There is some disturbance in your voice.
Is it?
Can
I
you
don't
come
know.
closer?
I was coughing, that's all. No, I've got my headphones on.
Okay,
Can
yeah.
you hear me now?
Yes, absolutely clear. Yeah.
Okay.
We are able to hear you, and over to you, moderator.
Thank you so much, Chief Sergeant at Arms. The platform is yours, Ruhaina.
Thank you so much, moderator. Well, to summarize, I would like to say that my worthy opponents have tried their best to convince us, but our conviction still stays very strong. We cannot even fathom the negative impact that this integration, this globalization, digitalization has brought on us. It cannot be actually told within 5 minutes. And I may have tried to see their points of view disregarding the conditions of the people who are really suffering rather than those few who are gaining from this. Now, my opponents try to show us statistics and graphs, but fail to see that there is always the other side of the coin. Social injustice, which was ruling 100,000 years ago, is still dominantly there. Now, one particular point that I had mentioned was about unemployment and lesser jobs. People, they agree for low wages. Why? To sustain themselves, to sustain their families. And they are doing it in large numbers because of globalization. They don't have work, they're unemployed, so they just can grab anything, even for a few cents per hour, $1 per hour. They have to suffice because of the high standard of living, again brought about due to globalization. This affects them not only economically, but socially too. So there is definitely not only an economical injustice, but a social injustice attached to this. Local culture needs breathing space from pressures of globalization. And local sellers, who are the major part of a population in many of these developing countries, they still need to make their ends meet. We, the negative team, still stand for this resolution because till now we have not had any facts regarding whether it is good or bad, but we say that it is bad for those who are suffering. The spread of pollution affecting the environment and making life for the poor poorer and tougher is actually an intolerable act. We, the negative team, still stand for resolution that globalization is not good for any country. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Ruhaina. Timer, please, can we have 30 seconds for the judges before we move on? Thank you so much, Timer. Thank you so much for both of the teams. Both of you did an amazing job. So it is the time to see, maybe not now, by the end of the meeting, we will see who will win, the men or the women. So thank you so much for having me as the moderator. And it's the time to give the meeting back to our Master of Ceremonies, DTM Marlene Manohar.
Great. Thank you very much. Big applause to our debate moderator, Ola Rashid, DTM. Host, Host, you have created for the judges and ballot counters, have you given the breakout rooms?
It's just being prepared, but you.
Okay, very good.
But you can
So
proceed.
you did a great job, DTM Ola Rashid, and congratulations to all the debaters. It was an interesting one. Every meeting of us, we have someone come with us, come and give us beautiful tips on how to improve our debating skill. Toastmaster Lavanya, can you mute yourself? Thank you. Can you go ahead, host?
Please proceed.
Very good. Excellent. Today, we are very fortunate to have a person who, career-wise, is a logistic and supply chain professional managing the freight commercials desk with Agility Logistics, Kuwait. He started off his Toastmaster journey in 2011 and presently serving as Area 17 Director. He is also the president of Critical Thinkers Club and immediate past president of our own Elite Debaters Toastmaster Club. In the year 2018, he won the District 20 evaluation contest at DTAC, comprising of Kuwait, Bahrain, and Qatar. Just before a few months in 2020, he captained the Kuwait debate team that won the first ever regional debate contest conference held between Kuwait, Dubai, Qatar, and Bahrain. Presently, he is a mentor for aspiring public speakers and also conducts various evaluation and debate workshops within the GCC region. Please help me welcome young, enterprising, great Toastmaster, Area Director of Area 17, Toastmaster Prince George.
Thank you, DTM Murli, for such a warm welcome. I'm really glad to be here to present today. I know we are running a little short of time, so I will just move forward with the discussion that we're going to have. So this was an amazing debate that we witnessed about globalization. I mean, more than anything, I learned a lot. So I hope everyone learned as well. And let's move forward with a few more globalized ideas about what are the debating tactics that can really change the course of a debate and really influence how you can conclude a debate. So moderator, if you could just confirm that my screen is visible to you.
Yes. And please note your time is 25 minutes, 20, 22, 25.
Noted, moderator. Thank you. All right. So what are the 7 most effective debating tactics that you may have come across in your debating journey? Let's start with the basics. Now, how we're going to do it is we're going to first talk about the basic techniques, and then we will come across techniques which are a little more advanced, and then we will go to the knockout techniques. Okay, so that's how I've divided this. So starting off with the basics, most of us have come across this first technique or tactic, which is the most basic, where we start off in a debate. I learned this in the Synergize conference that we had about how you should analyze your opponent before a debate and how you choose your battles. So talking about analyzing your opponent, I remember in the course of those debates that we move forward, there were times when we sat together as a team and we actually analyzed our opponents, how they performed in previous debates. what were the strategies they were using, what is the strength of a certain debater, what are the weaknesses of a certain debater, and we exchange these views within us, within the team. So what happens with that is, at the time of the real battle on the ground, we already have a heads up on how this debater is going to perform, or what are the strengths or weaknesses of this debater. It gives us a head start. Okay, so it's really important in a professional debate to study your opponent before you come up to debate, because it already gives you a certain boost of confidence, where you know what your opponent could be up to, or what is the strategy that your opponent may use. That's very important. The second part of this is how you choose your battles. Now, this is something that I've honestly learned from my dad, because my father always mentioned this to me, that, you, throughout your working life, throughout your personal life, there would be a lot of situations that all of us go through, right? At work, there could be people you're rubbing shoulders with at work, at your personal life, with your spouse at home. Of course, there are situations where you rub shoulders. The question is, which of these situations really require you to battle it out? And like my dad said, then you choose your battle and win that battle. Don't waste your time on battles that will not matter, because we are beyond that, right? Why I'm talking about this is because even in debates, it's very important to pick up those points in a cross examination, or to pick up those arguments which will change the course of a debate. Just using those few minutes to put points forward is not a right strategy. You need to optimize yourself in those few minutes, be it the cross examination or be it the speech. You need to optimize yourself. So choose your battles, choose the right argument, choose what you want to pick in the cross examination, and do that well, right? Great. The second one, demolishing definitions. Now, this is something I've realized is a little underused within our fraternity of debating. Now, why I say this is because, let me give you an example again. In the debate that we had against, in the finals, actually, in the Synergized Debating Conference finals, the debate was about euthanasia should be made legal, right? So when we defined the terms, we defined it as euthanasia as, that we said we will not consider voluntary euthanasia. We will only consider involuntary euthanasia. And we demolished our opponents with the definition that they came up with. And we told them that, how can you consider voluntary euthanasia in your definition? Because no one is, because it's not something that, someone who's not alive, how will, or who's probably on the bed in the hospital, not able to take decisions, how would, why would you consider that somebody else pulling the plug off him should be legalized? Why would you consider that? So when we demolish an opponent's definitions, it changes the course of a debate again, because it gives you it, or it puts you in the driver's seat, and it shows that you know exactly what you're talking, what you're debating on. You don't want to debate on something which is undebatable, right? Because that goes on to ethics. Now, we don't want to debate ethics here. We want to debate points. We want to debate logic, right? So that's what demolishing definitions of another team is very important. We cannot close our eyes when our opponents define certain words. We cannot close our eyes. We have to challenge those definitions if they are not logically going to help you have a conducive debate, right? So great. The third one, HMB. Anyone in the audience would like to highlight, what do you think is HMB? Anybody? Any guesses what HMB could be?
I know HDMI only.
I'll add an eye for you, after that. All right, so I'll just clarify that. So HMB is one of my most favorite parts of a debate. It is the heart and mind balance. So what I've noticed a lot of times in debates is we have opponents who are going to go to any extent to get you off your path. For example, right? Also. So it's going to happen. Just 1 hour or 2 hours that we lost our internet connection. All right, thanks. It's going to happen. You're going to have your opponents who are going to go out of their way to push you off your path of normal thinking. And you can be rubbed, you can be pushed, you can be challenged, you can be insulted. We've gone through that as well. But the question is, how do you manage to balance your heart and mind in that situation and not lose your cool? At the same time, keep your balance, but remember that you have to attack the point, the view, the logic, and not the person. So this difference is something that I learned during my debating. Initially, I would get a little carried away when my opponents would not speak something that was not on the lines of logic. But then I realized that, I learned it in my path that, this is not the way we need to address this. We need to look beyond that. We don't need to attack our opponents. We need to attack the ideas. We need to attack the opinions and stay balanced at all times through the entire debate. Always remember that the one who comes out of a debate successful is the one who did not lose his track, who kept his calm, who kept his balance. So that's something which is very, very important in a debate. Now, stepping it up, like I said, stepping it up to the fourth tactic that I think really helps in a debate. Now, how many of you are aware of what is psychological framing? Is anyone in the audience aware of what is psychological framing? Anybody?
Putting him in a corner.
Okay. Anyone else?
Trying to overpower a person.
All right. I will make
Can
it.
I say?
I will make it.
No,
Yes,
can
go
I
ahead.
say something? Framing, according to me, framing, psychological framing is you put yourself on a stage, so you can put in on your winning frame.
Yes. So framing it right. All right. Anybody else?
I was just thinking about thinking from that person's point of view, his mind, kind of like reading his mind psyche and understanding, and then you react.
Okay.
Okay, can I give it a try?
Please go ahead.
Okay, I think it is like in the minds of the audience, whatever I want to say, I'm framing the sentence in such a way that they get the impact that I want them to get. For example, if I'm going to say that instead of asking, do you support war, which people might not like, if I ask them, is the security of your country not important to you? I think that's psychological framing.
I think you are absolutely right. Is that Venil, if I heard that right?
Yes.
Yes, hi Venil, good to have you with us. And yes, you're absolutely right. That's how it works. And this is something I learned in one of the debating seminars I had attended, and this a great concept. Now she's explained it absolutely spot on. And I'll give you another example that I heard at that time, which has stayed on my mind. So it's like a short story. It's like there are two young adults in a church, and they are standing in the church, and there's a sermon going on, and the doors of the church are locked, so they're inside. And one man says to the other that I feel like having a smoke. So he says, why don't you ask the priest? So he goes to the priest and he says, Father, can I have a smoke outside? He says, no, it's time to pray. So just pray here. And he comes back to his friend and says, no, I didn't get permission. And his friend says, let me go out there and ask the priest. And he goes and asks the priest, Father, can I pray while I smoke? And the priest is like, of course. So you're smoking, and while you're smoking, you're praying. Well, go ahead, do it. And they walk out of the church, right? So it's just about how you frame that sentence, whether you frame it about smoking while you're praying or praying while you're smoking. It depends on how the other person perceives it. So psychological framing is basically about that, how you frame that sentence, right? Anyone has any idea what is loss aversion? Any idea?
A lot of people are scared about losing, and they want to win at any cost. So when they have this attitude, they make illogical arguments.
You're right. So you've come to the deduction of loss aversion. Now, I'll give you an example of what is the meaning of loss aversion, right? So now you ask a medical sales representative who's trying to sell vitamins. Now, if he goes to a shop, or let's say someone and he says that, use these vitamins, these are good for you, have one tablet every day. It's good for your health. So if he comes to me, I may say that, maybe, I may have it, I may not have it, I'm not that keen about it. However, if I have a certain pain and I need a painkiller. 2, handle a problem that I had because I didn't have that vitamin. And then the salesperson says that, listen, if you don't have this vitamin, I'll have to give you a painkiller after 6 months. So am I going to buy that vitamin tablet? Yes, of course, because I am worried about the loss that I may have if I don't use that vitamin tablet vis-a-vis having that vitamin tablet just for good health, right? So loss aversion is again a concept where you show or where you project what is the loss if you don't go by this idea. For example, in the debate that we just had, if the affirmative team had kept on drilling into the audience's head that if you don't support globalization as a country, these are the losses that you will have. You know, as the audience, we will feel that, okay, you know, we need to go ahead with the globalization, because if we don't, we will lose this, we will lose jobs, we will lose social security, we will lose this. So, you know, getting a kind of a fear of loss in your audience's eyes always is far more persuasive in a certain manner. Now basically that's what you know, psychological framing and loss aversion is. So we need to use these concepts and in our debating, because these are very you know, mentally stimulating. These are terms which can really persuade your audience in your direction, right? Now the fifth one, this is a very interesting tactic, and the most I've seen double bind being used by is none other than the president of America, Mr. Donald Trump. Now, what is a double bind? Is there anyone here who could tell me what is a double bind? The concept of double bind. All right, no issues. I'll go ahead.
It is a form of communication where a person is confronted with two different types of demands or a choice between two undesirable courses of actions.
Yes, absolutely right. You've gone by the book, Mr. Murli. So well said. That's how it is. So basically, it means that if I ask you a question, do you want to be poor? Is it good to be poor? For you, both your answers are no. But I am probably pushing you in a direction where I'm trapping you. Right? So when you ask a question, or when you ask, or you give two options where the answers are undesirable, you give me two options which are undesirable. These are not what I really want to talk about, but you give me only these two options and I have to only pick those. I am trapped, right? So that's called a double bind. Now, let me give you an example of double bind. Like I heard it was Donald Trump saying in one of his speeches, he said something which was debated or refuted by his opponent. And then he says this, you have actually said this to me. You're not going to apologize, are you? Moving on. So what happens with that is when you say that you're not going to apologize, you're already trying to put forward into the mind of the audience that what your opponent said was invalid. On the other hand, when your debater, when he comes up and if he tries to say something, it may come across as he's trying to defend that. And he's not really apologizing, but it may come across as if he's already lost the debate. So you catch someone through both the sides and you lock him in and you trap him in. That's called a double bind. What's social proofing? Does anyone have any idea what social proofing is? Okay, so social proofing is basically an influence that the actions and attitudes of people around us have on our behavior. So let me give you an example. Now, I was interacting with someone who owns a restaurant in Kuwait. I will not take the name, but so this gentleman was mentioning that I've kept my restaurant small. I have space to actually, you know, put in another 5 or 6 tables, but I'm going to keep it small, 4 tables. And it's fine by me if people are waiting outside. It's okay by me. Does anyone have any opinion on why he would want it to be that way? Although he has the funds to expand it, he has maybe a requirement of more people coming in to have more tables, but why would he want to stick to his 4 tables as business
So that
plan?
he wants to show that his hotel is always busy and full. People have to wait for a demand, creating a demand.
Exactly. So what happens with that is when I go to that restaurant and I see the number of people lined up outside, what is the image that I get about a restaurant? That is amazing. That it's there's so much demand about it, right? And it's like it's the place I want to be at. So that's how you create or you influence a person's thoughts through social proofing. Now, how do you combine a double bind and social proofing into one argument? Now, this is probably a turning point of a debate if you can use this, right? So this is a sentence. Please hear to this, listen to the sentence very carefully. Let's say my opponent says something to me and I go back and I say, would you be fair or gentlemanly enough to accept that what you said was a logical fallacy? No, you wouldn't. Listen to it again. Would you be fair or gentlemanly enough to accept that what you said was a logical fallacy? No, you wouldn't. So what happened in this? What happened in this statement? Firstly, I have already instilled into the mind of the audience that what my opponent said was a logical fallacy. So as the audience and the judges, they are already on a certain persuasion path where they believe that there was a logical fallacy given up by my opponent. Second is I trap him when I say, no, you wouldn't. Because if he does, it comes across as if it was genuinely a logical fallacy and he's trying to defend it. And then I move on with my speech. So what happened here? And also, one very important thing, would you be fair and gentlemanly enough? This is social proofing, okay? Because now, when I say that, you are imagining a gentleman who would actually come up and say that, okay, I'm wrong. Yes, my argument had a logical fallacy. So when I say that, I'm trying to tell you that my opponent is not that person who would come up here and accept that what he said was a logical fallacy. So what I've done in this situation is I've used the double bind and the social proofing together to trap my opponent in one sentence. When my opponent doesn't say anything or he doesn't respond to it, I move ahead. It means that I won that argument and I get a 1 bell on my tally, on my scoring, because there's no comeback to that, right? So that's how it works. Now coming to the last 2 techniques which are very strong in debating, stepping it up totally is the 6th technique. Does anyone know who's Socrates? Anyone knows anything about yes, a great Greek philosopher. So Socratic response, this concept in debating basically means it again comes from how Socrates had done his education and how he preferred a teacher and student relationship to be like a 2-way communication, right? So earlier it wasn't like that. It was usually a 1-way kind of communication where a teacher is giving a lecture and students are listening to it. But he said that, it should be interactive. A teacher should speak and a student should respond. A teacher should speak and a student should respond. So this is specifically in cross-examination. So what does a Socratic response really mean? It means that you guide your opponent and trap him by making him answer in a certain manner. Okay, let me give you an example. My question to my cross-examinee is, dear opponent, please tell me, the rich have too much money, yes or no? Say yes. My dear worthy opponent, the rich and poor gap must reduce, yes or no? Say yes. I will conclude that do you mean rich should empty their wallets?
No.
But what happens in the course of cross-examination is that I would make my opponent say yes, because when you go through a series of questions where your answer is yes, 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 the 3rd or 4th answer will just come out as yes when you trap your opponent to the corner, right? So this is a logic which is used by a lot of debaters where they want to trap their opponent in a manner where they're not giving time enough to their opponent to really process it, and they're putting them in a certain pattern of thoughts where the next answer is going to be yes, and they've trapped him. The correct answer to that was not about rich emptying their wallets, but it was about bringing the poor up by giving them jobs, by giving employment. But I put in words into my opponent's mouth, and I made it look like my opponent has agreed to rich should empty their wallets, right? So this is like a technique which is used by a lot of debaters, and I would urge you to use this, even especially in cross examinations. The last but not the least, of course, is reductio ad absurdum. Does anyone have any idea what this is?
Pushing the argument to a point where it seems absurd.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So this is a Latin. In Latin, this is actually reduction to absurdity. So irrespective of how logical your opponent's points are, you can actually push him or push that argument to the extreme and prove that it does not make any sense and it just sounds absurd. Now, let me give you an example, right? This again is from one of our debates at Synergize conference. This is the artificial intelligence will supersede human intelligence debate, okay? So now in this debate, our opponents kept saying that the way technology is moving ahead, AI will overtake HI and AI will replace HI. So they are talking about how the computers are moving ahead, how technology is moving ahead, and they claimed that with the rate at which it's moving ahead, of course, artificial intelligence will take over. Now, as a layman, I would say it makes sense, right? Now, it does make sense, right? I know how things are moving ahead. My USB was 5 times the size it was 5 years back than it's today, right? So things are changing. Things are moving ahead. However, as a debater, it's my duty to make it sound absurd, right? So what did we come up with? We said, your argument on this is purely a logical fallacy. Why? Because we went on to the concept of the failure of Moore's law. Now, what is Moore's law? Moore's law states that the number of transistors in any integrated circuit doubles every 2 years, right? This is Moore's law, and this is happening since the 1950s. However, in the last 5 years, there has not been any change. It has stagnated. So what does that prove? That proves that even Moore's law stagnates over a period of time. Now, if Moore's law stagnates over a period of time, AI surpassing HI is just a speculation, is just an extrapolation, is just a logical fallacy. When Moore's law does not work, how can you say that artificial intelligence will work the same way? So you are just assuming that this is going to happen, and it may not happen. So when I say this, I make their argument sound absolutely absurd, right? Because they've come up with so much of confidence to say that AI will go ahead and overtake and supersede human intelligence. However, when I come up with Moore's law, I totally debunk their argument and make it sound absurd. So this is something, again, which is used in a lot of debates, and this technique as well is a very, very integral part of debating, where you have to debunk your opposition's highly logical arguments by coming up with conclusions which they were not expecting from you. So if your opponent thinks that he's got a great argument, you relate that to another concept altogether, which may sound really absurd, and you win that argument. And the bell goes to you for that, right? You get the ticker on that particular argument. You have debunked your opponent's argument. So these were the 7 tactics of debating, which I thought I will share with you all. I hope could add value to everybody. And thanks a lot. Over to you, moderator.
Thank you very much, Area Director Prince George, for your valuable tips. Now coming to the main activity. Today, the Chennai versus Bangalore match was there, and nobody was worried about what happened to who scored what, but what is the result. In the same way, both the teams from our own club members have competed, and we are going to hear from the horse's mouth the result. I please welcome our Chief Judge, Toastmaster Sohan Munaf. CJ Sohan Bhai, yes, thank you.
Hi, Toastmaster Murli Manohar. I'm also really excited about to announce the result. And the winner is both the teams, of course. Well, it was a really a challenging debate where my judges had gone through a lot to, to like just to think to where they have to give a point. But everything went smooth. But before that, I want to thank each and every one of you who had been, supporting throughout this contest here, starting from the role players. So Toastmaster Anwar, do we have the certificates ready? Okay, I can see. I would like to thank Toastmaster Muhammad Riza for doing the best role as a Chief Sergeant at Arms during the debate. So everyone, please give a big round of applause. Come on.
Please unmute yourself and open your video.
Yes. And yes, the next certificate goes to Toastmaster Murli Manohar. You were the best MC that I have really enjoyed this meeting today. Big round of applause to him as well. Come on, everyone, unmute yourself and also cheer them up. And also you can show us. And another certificate goes to the ballot counters all the way from Malaysia. Toastmaster Sangeeta, congratulations. And the next ballot counter was Toastmaster Ram Nachupalli. They all did a good job. And the most challenging time our timer was having was Toastmaster Mazrul Haq. You did a fantastic job today. Come on. And our host, he was the best host today. Toastmaster Anwar Adam. Clap everyone, come on. And our co-host, Toastmaster Ino Budo. And our best debate moderator. She was smooth in every aspect of debating. Toastmaster Ola Rashid. Oh. And now this challenging time has come for us. And the best winning team goes to, drum rolls, Elite Thinkers, the affirmative team. Wow, I was never expecting this.
Men won.
Men won, yes. Spot on, Murali. Men won.
Wow. Finally, you all have did
it.
it.
Globalization, not gender-based.
Great going, Elite Thinkers.
Elite Thinkers.
Wow.
Thank you.
And negative team, you also have done a good job. I'm really proud of you all. Toastmaster Rahena, Toastmaster Arij, and Toastmaster Archita. Thank you for participating from all over India. Thank you so much. And now, the moment we are waiting for. The best debater. Drum rolls, please.
Congratulations.
Toastmaster Alan Paul.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Congrats, Alan.
Alan Paul, say yes or no. Say yes or no. Say yes or no.
Yes, Alan Paul, yes.
It was quite challenging for us. There was a tie in between, but thankfully we had a tiebreaker as well. And
the first time to feel happy that
men.
Yes.
First time to feel happy that men won over women because they are This is the only reason. Congratulations.
Anyways, for me, every one of you are a winner, and
everybody are a winner.
Yes.
Yes.
And I really enjoyed a lot, and I'm so happy that everything went smooth today. No protests, and There are few connection issues, but it's okay. It was manageable. But overall, I'm happy with the things that went today. So thank you, and over to you, host or the MC.
Thank you very much, our friend CJ Sohan Abdul Bhai. You did a great job, and thanks to all the role players for an excellent activity. Now, I'm going to give the platform back to our sweet president, Toastmaster Anwar Adam. Thank you, Toastmaster Anwar, for giving me this opportunity of being the MC. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and congratulations to all the team, all the members of both the teams, and to the winners. Over to you, Toastmaster Anwar Adam, our ever-loving president.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies, DTM Murli Manohar. Well done today on your role. And wow, what a debate. In the beginning, it was head to head, I felt. And it was, very surprising to see the teams ended up being on the men being on one side and the ladies being on the other side. So great learnings, and always we are here to learn, and truly enjoyed the debate. Now, before I conclude, I do really need to thank few members who are part of this event, starting with Hind Ubaid, who is from the district. As you all know, we are one of the club, and I believe the only club who has been a prominent club where all the district leaders has been visiting. It's just not to forget who our district leaders are, but also to introduce the district leaders to our club. So I really, Hind had left the meeting, but I really thank him for making time to visit us. And of course, I need to thank today Suhan Munaf, who took up this very challenging role. So well done, Suhan, and being the chief judge. This is again something which is very unique. We took up the challenge of giving giving the liberty for our members to learn these roles, chief judge, judging. If you don't learn it here, where do you learn? So really proud to see how each of our members have taken this role and moved on. And of course, a final certificate I have is for a keynote speaker, who is none other than an immediate past president, who is a pillar of our club. He's also the area director. So thank you, Toastmaster Prince George, for those valuable time you give on the 7 effective debating tactics. Really fruitful, and hopefully we will implement those learnings in our upcoming debate. And I was silent most of the time because what you were talking, I had no clue, but I really took out a lot of notes. So a lot to learn. So thank you again, Toastmaster Prince George. Now, with this, we have come to the conclusion or to the end of our 6th debate and the debate championship, which we have started. And if I were to look back, what I feel is I really feel proud of how our members have progressed. It's not just the members have learned or got the opportunity to debate. They also got the opportunity to take up roles like sergeant, like chief judge, host, MCs, judges, ballot counters. So we not just specialized in debate, we also gave the opportunity for members to explore new roles, which is something really proud. And something which was very unique is although we had different teams, but when it came to debating, everyone were united. I really have to take few names like Noor, DTM Noor, Toastmaster Prince, Wafa, Gayatri, DTM Gayatri, DTM Wafa. These were few members whom I really felt, they were put into a team, but they never, just went selfish with their team. They were always willing as a coaches to help out to other teams. So that was very special to watch, to coach them, to guide them. So thank you all those experienced members and all those coaches who are with us. And I'm seeing a lot of changes, a lot of progress, and really take pride as the president of the club that we are moving in the right direction. Now, few surprises before I close today's meeting. That is, debate championship is over. So what's next? Of course, we are not going to stop debating because we are elite debaters. So what we're going to do is we're going to try something new. It's not really new, but at least for our club, it's new. We are going from the research base, move on to impromptu. So we will make certain changes, but we are not going to give up on debate, but we are going to give up the research-based debate, which we all participated, and moving on to impromptu. This is going to, of course, help you with developing more skills, debating skills, of course, and your impromptu skills as well. So next meeting, that is on the second Saturday, which is scheduled on 24th. We won't have a team debating, but instance, what we are going to have is an educational. We have had a debate, championship. So we need to celebrate. We are going to have some fun elements. Okay, so stay tuned for the surprises, which will be announced in the group shortly. And of course, we will have some education workshops because these are very important. And most likely it will be from our members' experience, what they will be sharing. Maybe a bit about evaluation, a bit more about judging. So stay tuned. And if any members have any suggestions on any workshop, please reach out to us so that we can arrange for it. So that was the news. And next meeting, of course, we will celebrate and look at the point table to see who were the table toppers and who was our best role players or debaters. So stay tuned. With that note, officially, since we are late, I would have to close the meeting. Once we close, we will certainly take the feedback and stay for a bit longer for networking. So with that note, thank you once again for joining with us. President of Elite Debaters officially closed today's meeting. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Wow.
Thank you,
What
everyone.
intense.
Congratulations, Elite Thinkers.
Congratulations.
Hey, everyone. I need to take a move. Congratulations, everyone. Everyone did a great job, and it was really so enjoying for me to get back to attend meetings after being away from Toastmasters for a while. And I need to take a move now. So good night, everyone.
Ola, just before you sign off, debating is impromptu, so you can. There is no excuse for anyone to say we don't have time to prepare.
Yeah, for that I was so happy for it. That I don't have to prepare. I just participate.
So that's great. Now we have few guests in the room. We will just quickly take feedback from them. We'll start with the guest. Bye-bye, Ola. We'll start with the guest.
Sir, if you can excuse me also. I just would like to say only one thing. Our championship, Elite Debaters Championship is over. Entire credit goes to all the members who have worked hard, because this was not one-man show. All the 4 teams did all the roles, and it was a great learning. Believe me, I have done MC, but doing this MC was tough because it is a virtual one. Secondly, as a moderator, I don't know, I was very tough, and people, I don't know how they liked this thing, but every role was very good. Why I took the time is it's already midnight here. I have to sleep, but I thought I should tell you, the entire Elite Debaters, everybody can pat themselves on the back because it's a great learning experience. And this club has given us a lot of learning. And thank you, President, as well as all the coach, as you mentioned, Noor, DTM Gayatri, DTM Noor, DTM Gayatri, DTM Wafa, and our own area director. All of you did a great job, and it was a great learning with so many team members. With this, I will sign off because it's already midnight. Good night, and remember, I love you all.
Thank you, DTM Murli. Can we quickly hear from one of the guests who are still here with us? Lavenel Surya. Are you here with us? Okay, I've tried to unmute, no response. We also have Dinesh Kumar with us. Toastmaster Dinesh, can you please share your feedback?
Thank you, Toastmasters Anwar. Very good evening, all of you. Really, I learning something, but today when I heard that today the last debate, I get little bit hopeless. When I started the journey to learn something, you getting to stop. Again, you announce, no, the table topic debate will be going on. Well, let me ask you a question. Except the debater, who others were here? Why you were here? Anyone can answer my question?
Should we answer it in a yes or no?
Right. Toastmasters Alan, is it yes or no? I like this style.
The debate is over. First, Dinesh, the debate is over.
So I was asking this question in the Google, how to sharpen the debating skill. Simply the answer is start watching online the debate on the YouTube. Then I think why I have to go the YouTube? Elite debater is there online. So that's why this is today my third day, I think. So yes. I learned a lot and I will try to also one day I will be as a debater. So I can ask question to Alan Paul. Reply me yes or no. That's all. I got your answer. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmasters Anwar.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dinesh. Thank you, Toastmaster Dinesh.
Anwar, can I say something?
Sure, please.
Me too. I am in the coffee shop.
Sure.
Look, it was really a wonderful debate. Congratulations to the participating teams. One suggestion about our next debate, because it's going to be table topics. If these topics could be current subjects, like so we are aware of what we talk, because as you know, when it's a table topic, you can speak nonsense. It's all about you to speak 2 minutes. But when it's a debate, you need to make sense of what you say. So if these are actual activities which all of us have some knowledge about, it can help us to put our ideas forward.
Sure, we'll keep a point on that. And we want to be very fair. So the debating topic, we will try to bring, people from outside or within one of the member from the team, but we'll keep it neutral and also, something which everybody can participate. And there was another suggestion which we got for this. It is not by rule book, which we implemented last time, which we tried, not implemented, which we tried was having 4 debaters, but only 3 will talk. One will be as a participant. So that really helps, because if something goes wrong with the network or something, somebody can cover up, and there is always one person who can do the research and help you with your structure and things. So we will keep that in note. So thank you, Toastmaster Ino. And Ino is someone who keeps expressing a lot of ideas, but I believe my one term as a president is not enough to implement all. So I will leave it to something for the next upcoming term to implement.
We have Archita over here. Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone, have a good evening. I have to leave. Good night. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Archita, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Yes, it's too late for you. Thank you for being with us.
Results?
Now,
I just wanted to know.
The debate is over, but Alan is still here, so you can, if you want to cross-examine him, you can.
Tell me what the results are.
Results, the best debater was a tiebreaker, tiebreaker, and it was decided as Toastmaster Alan, DTM Alan Paul was the best debater, and the team was affirmative team. The chief judge is here.
Who was in the tie?
Tiebreaker, it's confidential. Chief judge is not going to reveal that.
Then you don't need to announce it was a tiebreaker also.
No, that is important to announce, because it's part of the.
No, actually, as a judging board, you don't need to announce it is a tiebreaker. Yeah, you don't need to announce.
Okay, so that's a new learning for me. We'll take a note. Thank you. Archita, how was this the first time you debated with us? So tell us your experience with us.
I think it was pretty fun. I had a lot of fun. I had a great time. I'm sorry, Toastmaster Sham, if I came across a little, I will say aggressive, but that's just sometimes how I get into the mode of debating. And it is pure passion for debating that is reflected. I completely mean no disrespect, sir. And Alan, it was fun debating, and it was a fun cross question. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I think it was after quite some time that, you know, somebody asked me a yes or no answer at a debate. Usually the questions are very different, but I think that's about it.
Thank you, Archita.
Likewise,
And
Archita.
please
Had a lot
don't
of
be
fun.
sorry here, because you have to watch our earlier videos. Alan and Sham doesn't deserve sorry. They are very brutal cross-examinators.
I'm trying to tone down.
And one more suggestion, DTM
No,
Archita.
I was
Don't tell
particularly
sir in the
sorry
debate.
to
Don't tell
hear you.
sir. They will sit on the head. Not to anybody when you're debating. Later you can give respect, but when is the time of debate?
Sham, you're muted.
Sham, sir, you're muted.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say, Archita has done a really very great job, and I put a lot of effort to not to stop you in the cross examination. And really, I really appreciate your entire team and yourself. You've done a great job as an active team. There was a lot of learning.
Thank you so much.
You have missed Archita's workshop. I will share the recording with you, Sham, because you were not there. She was a keynote speaker on last Saturday, and while she was speaking, giving the keynote speech, we could see how passionate she was. So, you know, it was no surprising to see her today. But a lot of learnings from, you know, this is the advantage of having different, you know, members from all across the world having debates. So a lot of learnings. So thank you, Archita. I know we troubled you last minute. We roped you in, and you really did not have enough
Totally
time
okay.
to
I had a
prepare.
great time too. I
You
just can't
really
switch on
could,
my video. It's really late here. Like it's almost midnight. 2 minutes to go for midnight. So I can't switch on my video. But I had a great time. I was warned against Alan, and I was told, Archita, please don't be offended. And Aries and Rohaina they were like, you know, Alan is otherwise nice. You know, they're trying to give me some opinion that he's a nice human being. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. It's okay. I'm not offended. And I'm hoping he is not offended. So I think it's all cool.
Perfect. Thank you, Archita.
It's all cool.
We will move. We also have Noor here. But before Noor, we'll ask Chief Judge Suhan, your first time as Chief Judge. How was your experience?
Well, it was quite challenging again, but it was a great learning though. I was just been praying that, you know, nothing should go wrong anyway. So everything just went smooth as I expected. I've been like, keep watching on things with timers and with the role players. And, you know, I was like, so far so good. So I enjoyed my role and I survived it.
Thank
Great
you.
job, Suhan.
Great job. Now let's go to the winning captain. The captain, the affirmative team A1, Pramod Bose. Are you audible? Are you audible?
Thank you very much. It was a beautiful experience. I would say that the victory is, the credit is for all the teammates. We had spent some time for preparation to admit that actually we spent a lot of time, and the learning while preparing, that is the biggest advantage. So the debate is another thing, but the learning, so much research and the brainstorming and all. So it's a good experience to learn debate and participate in the debates. So because your knowledge is increasing, definitely I'm looking forward. And okay, I got the chance to be the captain. It was I took that challenge, but the seniors like DTM Noor and our best debater DTM Alan and all supported, including Sham. So good learning experience. And the opposition team, big congratulations to them. Actually, they had to, you know, they were short of one speaker, and later Toastmaster Archita, you know, step in. So I thought that they had only a limited time for preparing, but within that limited time they prepared very well. Really, they given us a tight fight. I would say that. It's the questions, their arguments, all were good. So at the end, we won. Okay, we are happy for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Yes.
Pramod. You started really strong. I really liked, and I personally will give my feedback to you one-on-one. Yes, Noor is there with us. Noor, we've been missing you, DTM Noor. So tell us, how are we progressing, Noor? How do you see our club is moving on?
Hi, thank you, Anwar. Thank you for giving me a chance to speak. So one thing I noticed is the evolution of the members who are participating in the debate. Now I can see how they are evolving as people. I really love how their minds are growing, and thanks to you for providing an opportunity for debating. So I'm so happy to see people develop themselves and become better people. So that gives me a great satisfaction to see people improving. So your club is good. I'm more focused on
Our club is good. You are with us.
Yeah. I mean, our club is good. So I mean, since you're the president, so your club is good. So and I love people growing. So that's one great advantage of debate because it enables people to do research, collaborate with each other, and learn together and expand their lives. So that's amazing. Thank you for providing the opportunity.
Thanks a lot, DTM Noor. And one thing I would really want to say is, last week when we debated at Soul Debate, although it was impromptu, I was, I could really see the, change what we have, from the beginning, how Alan, Riza, the way they have even Sangeeta, the way they approached the debate was amazing. We can really, vouch that the evolution is happening. Slowly and gradually, members are putting in efforts. We are just creating platforms. Members are putting in a lot of efforts, and truly we have guidance from members like you, Prince, and Wapa, who are really supporting the members. So that is our core for our club success, because there are other debating clubs around, but what's benefiting us is your guidance, which is really shaping, and the members are literally taking full advantage of the coaches. That is really, really fruitful.
If you ask this debate, Alan, Pramod, and Shyam, they did the work by themselves. So I didn't even attend. Many times they sent invite to me, and I never attended any of those because of my work schedule. But all of this, what you saw today, was completely them. They did their research. They did all the arguments, the cross-examination question. Everything was done. So I'm so proud to say that teams are now, independent. Now, what you have to do as a president, which I believe, is to take this game to the next level. That is, cut short on the preparation and have debates like what we had in the Kuwait National Open tournament.
Yes.
So like 30 minutes debate. So now all of the debaters have reached a level where now they can progress and transition into the next level. So take that next level, and they should be ready now, because I believe that Shyam, Pramod, and Alan, along with the other debaters, are ready now. They can progress to the next level.
Thank you. DTM Noor, on that note, there were two suggestions which came from the members. One is on the judging itself. We want to create a small workshop, probably, the next Saturday, not the next Saturday, the Saturday on 24th. On 24th Saturday, we were planning for an, workshop. There were two requests. One was on the judging role as such, how to do the marking and how to do the chief judge role. So that was one. And the other thing, what the request came was on the evaluation, how to, do an evaluation. Basically, it's more, inclined in sync with the judging, because it's good if you are a good evaluator, probably you understand a lot more. This was a few suggestions which came from the members. So I would personally want to ask you if you would be available on 24th, and I'll touch base on you. So these were the two debates which we intend to, a workshop we intend to have on 24th. So
it's a good idea, because having more training on how to judge and evaluate, these are two subtly different things. Now, judging will help you give good evaluation. So when you judge properly, then you will be able to evaluate properly. So you should know what are the judging criteria for that. As I said to you at the start of this year, that you will not have good judges, even till the end of the year. So it takes time to understand. When they go through the process, when they're judging, they will know. Like, for example, today, Tabassum, she called me, and if I may reveal that she was one of the judges. So she's now inquiring, like, how we should do this judging, how the criteria is. So this is process which happens with experience, with time. As I said